Welcome to Exit Like a Boss. I'm going to show you, having helped nearly 800 business owners work through a 21-step process to exit like a boss, how you can do it, what you need to know, the steps you need to take, and what's actually involved in you and your business being able to maximize value and successfully exit like a boss. Hope you enjoy it. In this episode of Exit Like a Boss, we're going to talk about setting goals and outcomes. Goals and outcomes for you, the owner, for the business, for the employees, and for your finances, all of which make up a successful exit strategy. Let's start with the business, because that's often the easiest one. We need to be really clear what our exit strategy is actually going to look like. Most of the time when I talk to business owners, they haven't thought about this yet, or they have some vague view of perhaps when I turn 65, I'm going to think about selling the business at that point. Let me tell you now, that will not happen without preparation. And preparation actually starts with being very clear on what that exit strategy looks like. It's a very different process and implementation plan if you want to prepare your business for a listing on a stock exchange compared to if you wanted to pass the business on to your two oldest children. Those preparations are different. The implementation plan and the timetable is different. The focus is different on what needs to be done and how. And so, beginning with the end in mind, having that decision upfront, clearly documented, I would also say clearly communicated to your family, to your business partners, to the management team perhaps in your business, will also make that a far more successful transition. Now, to be clear, that exit strategy goal needs to be quite specific. It needs to be time-based. It's not okay to just say, I'm going to exit in about 10 years' time by selling my business. It has to be specific. I'm going to exit on the 15th of June, 2035, which happens to be the day that I turn 65 years old. And on that day, I'm going to sell my business to a strategic buyer, which will probably be one of these three listed companies or a private equity fund that I know invests in businesses in my market or in my industry. That's how specific you've got to be. You've also got to be specific about what it looks like for you in terms of financials. So is that sale a $2 million sale, a $5 million sale, $10 million, or $50 million? None of those are wrong, by the way, but it's very important to be clear on what that looks like. Now, if you said to me today, I want to sell my business for $10 million in 2030, then we can work out exactly what your business needs to look like to achieve that goal. In other words, we know what needs to be done between today and 2030 when you want to sell to make sure you're ready. And to make sure you don't get 7 million, but you actually get the 10 million that you're looking for. That 10 million might be to fund your retirement. It might be to pay out some debt and buy a holiday home that you want to live out on the coast somewhere. It doesn't matter what the goal is, but it needs to be very clear. There are lots of things we can do to assist you to get ready at that point, but you have to know what that looks like. Timing, dollar value, if there is a dollar value, processes around transition as well. So thinking about your role going forward. One of the goals you need to set yourself is what are you going to do on that day? Or even more importantly, on the next day. Are you still going to be working in the business? Have you actually retired? Has the business passed on to your children and you're going to become a board of director member or a chairman of the business? A figurehead type role rather than a day-to-day operational role. Again, there's no right or wrong answer, but it's really important to be very clear on what that actually looks like. And of course, one of the reasons that's so important is that the decision-making and the implementation that we work on between today and your exit will change depending on what your outcome looks like. If you wanted to list your company on an exchange, stock exchange, then it needs to have certain things in place. For example, your accounts will need to be audited. You'll need to have governance systems in place. You'll need to have lots of financial rigor around the management and decision-making processes in the business. Now, you don't necessarily need that if your goal is to pass the business on to your children. What you might need instead is some structure and discipline around the children, some training and education to get them up to speed and qualified to take over the actual business when the time comes, and also some structures in place to support them. The kids can't possibly be good at all aspects of running your business. Therefore, do you need to put into the management structure a financial expert, an accountant or a CFO to help them run the financial aspects of the business? Maybe they're already good at that, but they're not so good at sales and marketing, so you need to put somebody like that in place. That transition takes time. The training and education also takes time. So again, getting very clear on what the goal and strategy is up front is quite important. I would say spend some time, think about what that exit goal looks like for you. Write it down. 2 or 3 sentences. I plan to sell my business on this date for this much money to this type of buyer. My role after that will be X, Y, and Z. I am looking to do so-and-so after I retire or after I sell. So there's a detailed strategy in place. The second challenge then is to actually communicate that. Start to talk to family members, your spouse, your children, other family members that might work in the business. And of course, your business partners or other shareholders, if you do have those as well, is also quite important. It's quite amazing the number of businesses I talk to who have never had this conversation and actually find their business partner or even their spouse is really, really surprised at what that strategy looks like because it's never been talked about. It's sort of a hidden secret. Nobody likes to talk about exit and succession planning. But let me assure you, people that do get better results. Getting your family on board, other shareholders on board, and even your key employees on board will definitely get you a better result than keeping it secret to yourself. So the action item from this episode, sit down and write out your goals. It doesn't have to be shared with anyone today, but I would recommend you do that in the near future and be really specific. Make sure you know exactly what it looks like. Time, dollar value, your role, who's the buyer, or what's the exit strategy. If there's no buyer, it might be your kids or family members. Just make sure it's really clearly documented. I would actually encourage you to start a journal around the exit strategy with all of these key steps documented on the way through this program of exiting like a boss. You can start to document all of the steps you're going to take. What are the things you need to do? What do you need to get others to do to help make sure you maximize the value of your business and successfully exit when the time's right for you?